Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making strawberry jam. I do have a strawberry jam video, but that's with pectin. This one today is without pectin, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright guys, so for this recipe for strawberry jam without pectin, you're going to need 2 quarts, which is 8 cups of strawberries, and we're going to crush these here in a second. We actually went strawberry picking at a farm yesterday, so these are all fresh. And I actually did more than 8 cups. I did about 9 to 10 because when you crush them down, this is not going to be, it's not going to be this much. So I just went a little bit over, and that's fine. It's not going to affect anything, but you will need 2 quarts of cut up strawberries, and we're going to crush these here in a second. All right. Guys, the very first thing I did was make sure I washed jars and I had them ready. I have 12 jars in here. I'm not going to use all those jars, but remember, I always put extra jars in here because you never know how many it's going to use. It may say, oh, it only fills this many, and then you have extra. So always put extra in there. I have it warming up right now. Put it to medium, and now I'm going to take just a potato masher. And I'm going to mash these strawberries down to how many, like how chunky you want it, basically. And I'm going to mash them down. That's preference. If you like it chunkier, leave more chunks. If you want it mashed more, you can do that, or you can put it in a blender. But if you put it in a blender, be careful because you'll put it to pure liquid and you don't want that. So I'm going to start mashing this. And remember, when I'm mashing this, I am not going to mash and scrape around. I'm not going to do that to my pot because it will destroy this pot. I'm just going to go up and down and mash it until it's completely where I want it. And if you see any pieces of the stem or the leaves stuck in there, get it and pick it out. Sometimes it gets stuck in there and it gets stuck on the strawberries themselves, but you can always pull them out. So just pull them out as you go. Make sure you washed your strawberries really good beforehand, because I did wash them. Okay, here's what it looks like when it's crushed. It still has some chunks in it, but I didn't leave any big pieces. And I just move it around and try to find anything that's left that just needs to be crushed a little bit more. And this is the consistency I want, but if you want something smoother, just keep crushing. And for this recipe, you will need 6 cups of sugar. You can use just regular sugar or the pure cane sugar. I would not use any substitutes because some people have said they used other different types of sweeteners and it never set up. So this one recipe is for just regular sugar or cane sugar. And I'm going to dump this in here and I'm going to stir it around until most of it dissolves, and then I'm going to start put it on medium heat. I'm only going to do about half to begin with, and I'm going to stir it in. Sometimes if you put it all in at once, it does not dissolve very good. So we want it to dissolve pretty good. Remember, this is a no pectin recipe, so it's going to have to cook longer than a recipe that has pectin packet, because you have to get the natural pectins in the strawberries to come out, and you have to cook it longer for it to gel. So I'm going to stir this in all the way and add the rest, and then I'm going to put it on medium heat. Remember to have all your lids, your bands, and everything washed and ready to go. I have hot water heating up on low right now for this for later. And now this can take up to 40 minutes or so if you're not using pectin of cook time. And you'll have to stay here and keep stirring it so it doesn't burn on the bottom. But this is the way to make it without pectin. But you have to let it get to a gelling point where it sheets off the spoon, and I'll show you that when we get there. But this can take a while to heat up. You don't want to turn it full blast high because it will scorch it. Just keep stirring and slowly turn up the heat, work its way up Don't let it scorch on the bottom. And now strawberries do have pectin, okay? They're just low. They're one of the lower fruits that have low pectin, but it does have pectin in it, and it takes a while to get to the gelling point. But we'll get there. See, I still have chunks in mine. And see how I want to show you how it, if I see how it sheets off and just like, it looks like water. Do it again. See how it's sheeting off like that? That's how, I mean, you know that's not ready. And the foam will start to appear on top of it. It's completely normal. We're going to skim that off later, so if you're new to this, don't worry, that's normal. Okay, it's up to a boil, so I'm going to keep stirring it. Don't go anywhere and don't do anything else. Make sure you stay here and keep stirring it so it doesn't scorch or stick to the bottom. And I like to go all around the pot, okay? Don't just stir it right in the middle. Now let it boil for a minute or two and then stir it again. But we're going to stay here until it starts to gel. And hopefully I can catch it at each stage and show you guys. Alright, let's see what we got. See how it's just like pure water coming off? That's its first stage. We want to get to basically stage 3. It's too liquidy. Okay, we're at about the second point of the gelling. And I just want to show you. See how it wants to come off in one little sheet? Almost there. It's getting thicker. Just trying to all go in one little spot. We're not there yet. Almost. I'm also going to show you the plate test. So I took some jam out just a second ago. And this is how you can tell if it's done. I don't think it's done yet. It's almost there. But just let it cool. This is a cool plate. Just let it sit there for a second. And then run your finger through. Okay? See how it's still moving? It's trying to close the gap right there. It's not done yet. It's not done gelling. See, it's almost there. Still a little too liquidy. It's not done yet. Alright, I'm going to show you how it's sticking to this spoon now. See it coming off in the little sheets? That's what you want. I just took some more out, and now we're going to test it, okay? It's doing pretty good. It's not moving over, so that it should be done. Now what you want to do is make sure your jars are almost ready to go. Turn it full blast high to get them there. This is done. I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to take it off the eye, let it sit, and I'm going to skim the foam off. Now remember, this is a personal preference. There's nothing wrong with the foam. You can put it in your jars. I don't like it in my jars. I don't like how the spongy taste it does taste like strawberries, but I just do not prefer it. I skim it off for personal preference. And remember, you can do that. Most people, like I've said before, put butter in it, but I don't put butter in it for allergy reasons. So, and you don't want to have it in there if you do have a family member that has allergies. So I don't put butter in here. It's really easy to skim off the foam. It's not a big deal. Give it a second to calm down from bubbling. You're just going to take the edge right here of the spoon and just run it along the side and get the foam, okay? That's what I'm going to do all around. Now if you're really patient, you can get it all, and I'm going to try to get most of it. Remember, this is all preference. This is ready to go. Now I'm going to put my hot water in just for safety. You know, if you watch any of my videos, you know I do this just because I want to make sure everything is completely sterilized. They say it's not a necessary step. I think it is, but that's personal preference. So I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to get some jars out, and I'm going to start ladling it in. I'm going to do a couple jars at a time. If you're new at this, you can do one. Start off with one. Work your way up. I'm going to put the funnel in and just start ladling it in. Now, these need a 1/4 of an inch headspace. And just keep going with each jar. A 1/4 of an inch is usually around this first line for the bands. So if you want to do it, I'm going to check them again because I'm going to clean them and check them. But if you want to just have a roundabout place, that's where it is. Remember, use your headspace tool. This is a 1/4 of an inch. Oops. This is, got something on it. Oh. So this is a 1/4, this is a 1/2, this is 3/4, this is an inch. You want this one right here, and you're going to put it on and make sure it comes up to that one. That one's almost perfect. That one needs a little bit more. That one's almost perfect too. So I'm just going to fill these up, and then I'm going to wipe the rims. I have some vinegar and hot water solution right there, and I'm just going to dip in. This will help clean your rims, and then just go around your rims to get any stickiness off. See? Turn it inside out, do it again. Re-dip it as much as you need to. Get it off there so you get a good seal. It gets a lot on there. You don't realize that anything's on there, but there is. So always wipe your rims multiple times. Now, I didn't touch the inside, okay? I'll touch the outside, but I didn't touch the inside. Remember, when you're putting on your bands, fingertip tight, because if you tighten these down too much, they will buckle when they start to cool. And a lot of people wonder why they buckle. It's because they are too tight. Your bands need to just go on till it shows resistance and stop. Fingertip tight. Put it on, resistance. Put it on, stop there. I'm going to put these back in the canner and get some more. I'm going to keep going until they're all full. Alright, I'm done with my last jars. I got 8 jars. Oops. Get them in there. Put the lid on. Turn it to complete high and let it sit and wait for it to come to a full boil. And remember to have at least an inch of water on the little half pints. They're not bad, so I always have enough room, but it's when you get the quart jars is where it's hard. But make sure you have at least an inch of water over it. Once it comes to a full boil, we're going to put our timer on for 15 minutes. Full boil. 15 minutes. Okay, the 15-minute timer went off. I picked it up off the eye and moved it over. I'm going to take off the lid and then let it sit for 5 more minutes and then take the jars out. 5 minutes is up. I already took 1 jar out. Remember, when you take out your jars, don't tip them. I know there's water on top, but the water will evaporate off. It's not a big deal. And remember, wherever you put them, leave them there for 12 to 24 hours. I usually just have it on my granite. I've never had a problem, and I've never had a jar bust just putting it on my granite. But put it on a towel today. It's personal preference, whichever one you want to do. And just see, half of it drained off it already onto the towel. But just leave them there until the next day, and then I'll take off the bands and wipe them down and label them. Did you guys hear that one ping down? Just sealed. Oh, there's another one. This is some of the prettiest jam I've ever made. It's probably because I got the picked fresh strawberries yesterday from a local farm that were completely ripe, so probably why it's the prettiest, and it tastes wonderful. I cheated. Next morning, take off your bands. Push down to see if it pops, and then get a little tug on all sides. It shouldn't come off if it was sealed properly and you did it properly. But wipe them down just to make sure there's nothing sticky on the jars. If you overfill them, they will siphon out, but there's nothing sticky on them. You're just making sure you have a clean jar. And label them. Alright guys, that's the end of the strawberry jam with no pectin. Remember, you can make it with pectin or without. Now also remember, which I didn't mention in the video, depending on your altitude, you will have to increase the time. That's the time that I have for my altitude, but if you guys live somewhere it is very mountainous region, or your elevation is higher, you're going to have to adjust your time and add more time on there. And a lot of the Ball Blue books or any of the canning books should be able to tell you how much you need to adjust your cooking time based on your altitude. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Go make some strawberry jam. I'll see you guys next time.